can we do sex magic?
Do we need to? Have you told anyone about this?
No? Why would I have told anyone? Oh, I'll edit it out. It's all about...
So he's listening to them?
No, I haven't told him. I said specifically... We could do this as an issue, actually. I think we should, actually. It was on my list to do. Okay, before we do sex magic. I had a bit of an issue with the whole anonymity... Anonymity thing. In the sense that if you're anonymous and you're supposed to be fully... Because at the moment we're fully anonymous, yeah. No one knows who we are. We're just voices and we disguise our names. And we have, made up email address and stuff like that. I'm sure if you were a security expert, you could work out who we were. But who cares? Point is, we've got a pretty good level of anonymity. And a friend of mine, well, I have done lots of videos on the YouTube in the past. And a friend of mine noticed, I think perhaps that I hadn't done one for a while. And inquired about why I wasn't doing one. Or hadn't done one. And I told him that... we'll call him R. I told R that...
Another R. It's getting confusing.
Yeah, we'll call him RW then. RW, that I've been making anonymous recordings with V. And that's why I hadn't done anything recently. Because I've just been... That's where all my energy's been. In terms of production and creation. And... Unfortunately, I said to him that I couldn't tell him what the channel was. This is a shame, because I'm sure he'd love to listen in on all these things. It'd be right up his alley. And then he asked me why I was putting them on YouTube. If I wanted to be anonymous. Or rather, if yeah, you know what I mean. Like, the problem is, Circle of Trust. There you go, there's a title for this. Circle of trust. Circle of openness. Circles of transparency. Circles of honesty. Yeah? So, between myself and V, I have no secrets. There is nothing V doesn't know about me. In some cases, that's not always a good idea, but that's the way it is.
We know each other very well.
And between us and you, we have no secrets because we decided to be anonymous, so therefore we could say whatever we want.
Which allows us to be. Because I think if people knew who we were, I would be less likely to want to come forward on topics such as sex magic, for a start.
Okay, but let's think about this, right? Everyone has sex. Or everyone has these secrets. Everyone has these depths that they don't share, yeah? That they don't normally talk about. And this is kind of what links back to taboo, isn't it?
Yeah.
And so anonymity links in with taboo, which we've already discussed, which links in with this idea of, is it possible to expand the circle of trust? Is it possible to have a third person knowing everything there is to know about V and M?
Mm.
And to actually know who we are, of course, because otherwise they wouldn't be a friend. We'd have to know them, if you know what I mean. And therefore they'd have to know us. Is that possible?
Don't know.
Well.
The thing is, because it's only us two doing the transmissions, it makes it all very one-sided then. Yeah. Because you're never going to know all that stuff about that other person. Their input is not involved, so you don't get their side of it.
Unless they write something on. Feedback. Bit of feedback. But yeah, you're quite right.
So it's putting ourselves out there, but...
Well, we are and we aren't.
Yeah.
I mean, this is...
I guess anyone who puts themselves on a social media platform, is putting themselves out there to a certain extent. Well, they are. They just are. And some of the channels I've seen go very in-depth about a person. And they will say lots of things and...
A single person, it's easy to make that choice.
Yeah.
I see a lot of channels with just one person talking. And that's fine. But this is two people talking. And therefore, you have to make, if you're going to make that choice, you have to be pretty aware of it to begin with. And make it together. So it's not quite as easy. So we're not... So the the reason we have no secrets from each other is because we're in a close relationship. You know, what that means is like we completely trust one another. Or is that the reason we don't completely trust each other is because we don't have any secrets? Just could it work both ways round? And is this type of relationship applicable universally?
Outside of a couple setting, maybe?
Exactly.
Like, could you have this kind of level of honesty with
anyone?
Yeah.
Or anyone that is your friend. Because I would say, what's the point in just picking a random person and giving them this level of honesty? They won't have asked for it.
But that's what we're doing.
Yeah, but no, they're listening. They're listening. They're choosing to listen.
Yeah.
Right. But what I'm saying is like...
But we're still putting it out there, so...
I'm not talking about through the internet. I'm talking about directly, yeah? So what I'm saying is like, you're not going to just find some random person and start telling every single detail of your life. There's no point because they haven't asked for it. But if we're talking about friendships, then, yeah, is that possible? Now, I'd like to think, yes, it is possible, but I'm very wary, very, very wary of it because it's not my decision. It's our decision. Because if it was just me, I could individually choose who I wanted to share this kind of stuff with. And obviously I chose V. And, you know, at some point I might choose RW if it was just me as an individual, if I wanted to share that kind of stuff. But it's not. It's us together. And so I'd like to think, you know, in a nice, perfect, not in a perfect world, but in a world where we had relationships that were really strong, that were perfect, you know. That's not the right word. I don't mean perfect.
I know what you mean. I know what you're saying.
I'm an idealist.
Yeah,
That's
me too. I'm saying, I think what Em is trying to say is that he would like to see more people be more consciously aware about the relationships they have and place the most emphasis on that above all else. And that if that were the case and we all had a higher level of honesty with each other, ideally the world would be a better place because of it.
Yeah.
And by having this sort of conversation, I guess what we're actually essentially trying to do is break down a few of the barriers that are in place at this time by the human race generally, really, and try and get closer to a point where it is a more ideal way. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am saying that. That's my sort of utopian vision, I suppose.
Yeah. And I think I share that, actually. I think I largely share that one.
And so the actual practicalities of realising such a vision are still actually beyond me at this point, and maybe we should discuss it further.
Well, I think that's possibly part of the reason why on a subconscious level we decided to do a thing such as this, maybe. Or it certainly was for me, I think. Somewhere in there. Exploring the human condition and human relationships and...
Yeah, but I just didn't think it would hit me so abruptly as it did this week.
This week?
Yeah. Because it was like, oh, what have you been doing? I haven't seen any videos, because I'm usually producing like, you know, at least, I don't know, enough for people to notice if I stopped, obviously.
Yeah. And,
you know, he watches... He's probably responsible for most of the views of my videos. So, yeah, he's obviously noticed. But now he's in a situation where he's sort of being prevented from listening to any more, unless I make more on my own, which I have done just because I made a couple just with me on my own, which I can put on my own individual channel, which are fine because they're not disclosing anything between us. And I felt fine. I said to him as well, okay, I can talk to you about the topics that we're talking about. I just can't give you the channel identity.
You have to find it yourself.
There's no way he's going to find it. Unless I give him a list of the exact topic names, which I didn't do. I just sort of was talking about some of the things with him that we talked about, like, consciousness, what is consciousness, and culture, and expressing yourself to further the group consciousness, that type of idea.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to be able to find our actual channel. Although if he did find it, he'd know it was us. Just purely by our voices and the artwork. So, who knows? Maybe he's already found it. Maybe he's already listening to this, thinking, oh, stupid idiots. But, yeah, I don't know if I can finish this particular train of thought, because I'm not ready to.
Okay, well, we'll leave it there.
It's a good start.
Yeah.
Alright.
It's definitely something we can come back to, I think.
Yeah. Now, I'm still going to assume we're anonymous. I have to, because the whole point of me making, or us making this, was when I set the whole idea up in my head, was that it had to be anonymous, because...
Then we could talk more freely without fear of stigma,
which actually has led to this particular train of thought as well. So, on to sex magic, yeah?
I guess so.
Yeah. Alright.
Coyly.
Well, this is the thing. We don't actually need to be coy because we're anonymous. We can be open about it. That's what I want. That's what I'm going to protect. If I feel like I can't be open, I may never come out to RW about where this channel is.
Or anyone else.
Well,
RW has quite an influence on M's life.
Yeah. And
has done for a good many years, and I respect that completely. They are very old friends, should I say.
But if it's a choice between my ability to speak freely or my ability, or RW knowing what this channel is, then I'll choose my ability to speak freely.
Okay.
Which sounds a bit harsh, but
it does, yeah.
It's fine because we can still talk about these things that we're talking about here. I just can't give them the identity of the channel. It's not as if, I guess you could say it's like an artist producing art and then is not showing their best friend for some reason.
Or it's like an artist producing art, but no one knows who that artist is, i.e. someone like Banksy.
Yeah, but I reckon Banksy's friends know who he is.
Yeah, I think in certain circles it's known. And there are a lot of theories. A few really good ones, actually. So, yeah. But anyway, tangent.